Gender roles. Men are strong, women are nurturing. Men lead, women support. Men think, women feel. Sounds like biology, natural facts about bodies. Here's the thing. Yes, biological differences exist. Hormones, chromosomes, anatomy, real differences. But every single culture took those differences and built elaborate constructions on top. And those constructions vary wildly. What's masculine in one culture is feminine in another. Colors, clothes, jobs, emotions, behaviors. Pink used to be for boys, blue for girls. That flipped less than a century ago. High heels were invented for men. Secretaries were exclusively male. Cheerleading started as a men's sport. All the stuff you think is naturally gendered, culturally determined, could easily be different, has been different, will be different again. Gender roles are stories about what people with certain bodies should do, used to control half the population for most of history, define what they could want, what they could become. We're slowly realizing what we thought was natural was actually just traditional. Biology is real, but the meanings we attach, pure fiction. Gender isn't destiny, it's costume you inherited. Religion. You believe your faith is the truth, the real deal. Everyone else is misguided. Here's the thing. That's exactly what they think about you. Religion is humanity's oldest operating system. Before governments, before money, before writing, we had gods. Stories explaining why the sun moved, why people died, what happens after. Why did it work? Scale. You believe the same God watches you that watches me. Now we share rules, same authority, same answers to unanswerable questions. Suddenly, strangers can cooperate, build pyramids, fight crusades, create empires. Every major civilization ran on religious foundations. Doesn't matter if the beliefs are true, matters that enough people believe them. Actions based on shared fiction still have real consequences. Wars fought, temples built, laws written. Billions of people today coordinate their lives around texts written thousands of years ago by people who thought the earth was flat, who believed disease came from evil spirits. Their words still control what you can eat, who you can marry, what you do on weekends. Religion isn't about truth, never was. It's social technology, the original tool for binding strangers into something larger than a tribe. Works exactly as designed. Nations. What is America? Seriously, point to it. You can point to land, but that dirt existed for billions of years before anyone called it anything. You can point to people, but they die and get replaced. Point to the government, changes every few years. So what are you pledging allegiance to? A story. That's it. A shared fiction. 330 million people agree to believe. America exists because Americans act like it does, pay taxes to it, fight wars for it, die for it. Here's what's insane. You'll never meet 99.9% of your fellow citizens, share nothing with most of them, different values, different lives, different everything. But you're all American because you were born inside imaginary lines on a map. Those lines change constantly. 100 years ago, different borders. 100 from now, different again. The Ottoman Empire felt permanent to millions. Now it's a Wikipedia article. Nations let us scale past tribes, past villages, into civilizations of millions. Strangers became countrymen through shared fiction alone. You'd kill for your nation, die for it, based entirely on which side of an imaginary line you happen to be born. That's the power of a good story. Laws. Murder is wrong, obviously. But why? No law of physics says so. Lions kill constantly. Don't go to prison. There's no cosmic rule book making human-on-human violence special. Laws are just rules we invented. That's it. Someone wrote them down, convinced everyone else to follow, punished those who didn't. End of mystery. Justice, that's the story we tell to make rules feel legitimate. We don't say these are the rules because people with weapons decided. We say this is justice, makes it sound cosmic, discovered, not invented. Look at how laws change. Alcohol was illegal, then legal. Marijuana is walking the same path. Homosexuality was criminal in most countries 50 years ago. Now it's protected. If laws came from nature, why do they vary so wildly? Legal in one country, prison sentence in another. Same action, different imaginary line, different consequences. The whole justice system is theater. Robes, rituals, special buildings, special language, all designed to make it feel like more than rules powerful people wrote. It works because we need it to. Without shared rules, chaos. Laws aren't discovered in nature. They're invented by whoever has power to enforce them. Always have been. Human rights. You were born with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Natural rights that exist independently of any government, right? Nope. Nothing in physics grants you rights. Nothing in chemistry. Nothing in biology. Chimps don't have free speech. Dolphins don't have property rights. Rights don't exist in nature, period. Human rights are invented. Maybe our best invention, but invented nonetheless. The idea that every person deserves dignity just for existing, not obvious, not natural. Most of human history, most humans had no rights whatsoever. Slavery was normal. Torture was entertainment. Women were property. Children were labor. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, written in 1948, that's how new this is. Most of your ancestors lived and died without rights, didn't even have the concept, and huge parts of the world still ignore it. Rights exist when enough people with enough power decide to enforce them. No enforcement, no rights. That simple. Your rights aren't guaranteed by the universe. They're guaranteed by people who chose to protect them. Constantly negotiated, constantly threatened. Stop fighting for them, they vanish. Corporations. Apple is a person, legally speaking. It owns property, signs contracts, sues people, gets sued, has more rights than most humans throughout history. But where is Apple? Point to it. Not the buildings, those are just buildings. Not the employees, they quit and get replaced. Not Tim Cook, Apple existed before him, exists after. Apple is a legal fiction, a story written on paper that we all agree to treat as real. This story controls trillions of dollars, employs millions, shapes what you buy, watch, think. Here's the genius part. Corporations are immortal. Humans die. Companies live forever. They can do things no individual would do because no individual is responsible. Who polluted the river? The corporation did. Who evaded taxes? The corporation. Everyone shrugs. We created imaginary immortal superpersons, gave them rights, minimal accountability, then acted surprised when they took over everything. Corporations aren't real entities. They're the most powerful fiction humans ever invented. More powerful than nations now, more powerful than religions, controlling more of your daily life than any government. And they exist nowhere except paperwork and shared belief. Political ideologies. Capitalism, communism, liberalism, socialism feel like natural categories, laws of how society must work. They're not. They're operating systems, code humans wrote to organize millions of strangers, each one a story about how the world should run. Capitalism says compete freely, best outcomes emerge from self-interest. Communism says share equally, prevent exploitation through collective ownership. Liberalism says protect individual freedoms above all else. None of these are scientifically true. Can't prove capitalism correct, can't prove communism wrong. They're competing visions invented by people in specific times and places for specific reasons. The danger? Forgetting their inventions, treating your ideology like natural law. That's when people start killing millions over ideas someone wrote down 200 years ago. Here's the uncomfortable part. You didn't choose your political beliefs, not really. You absorbed them from where you were born, when you were born, who raised you. Someone born in 1950's Soviet Union genuinely believed communism was obviously correct. Someone born in 1980's America genuinely believes capitalism is obviously correct. Both think the other is brainwashed. Political beliefs aren't truth, they're geographic accidents.
Social hierarchies. Some people are just better than others. Every society in history believed this. Kings above peasants, Brahmins above untouchables, nobles above commoners, masters above slaves. All made up. No gene for royalty, no biological basis for caste, just stories powerful people told to justify being powerful. Worked for thousands of years. You think we've moved past this? Look around. Modern society has rigid hierarchies, just different vocabulary. Successful people versus losers, winners versus failures, high status versus low status. We replaced divine right with meritocracy, the story that hierarchy reflects actual differences in ability. Work hard enough, rise up. Stay at the bottom, must be your fault. But zip codes predict outcomes better than test scores. The class you're born into is mostly the class you'll